I asked people to recommend me books they didn't like, and now I'm reading them. Book 32 of the Another Man's Trash Reading Challenge is The Heartless Hunter. This is a romantasy that follows Rune Winters, who is an heiress that by day fronts as a disinterested, shallow socialite. She's a darling of the new regime and of the Blood Guard, and they took over the night that the streets ran red with blood. Witch blood. But Rune by night is a very different story. By night, she is the Crimson Moth, a vigilante who goes and rescues witches that have been caught to prevent them from being purged. Because little does the Blood Guard know, Rune is a witch too. But one night a rescue goes wrong, and in order to diffuse suspicion and get her hands on the intel that she desperately needs, she decides to court one of the most notorious and unforgiving witch hunters, a Blood Guard member named Gideon. But he has his own reasons for accepting her advances. I'm 83 pages into this book, which puts me at about 22%. I'd say that I'm lukewarm on it so far, but I am definitely intrigued. Rune's backstory is well thought out and tragic, and we have already established both sides of her double life, which I appreciate. The magic is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Rune's skill specifically evolves as we get deeper into the story, because this magic has a very high price, and I expect to find her in situations later on where she'll have no choice but to pay it, and I'm curious to see how that's going to affect her. The plot itself seems pretty straightforward so far. As we all know, I do tend to prefer my romance as a subplot. If it is romance forward, then I need the plot that is there to be really strong. So far, I could kind of go either way. The story is third-person limited dual POV. The internal voices for both of the characters are surprisingly similar, and I'm hoping that that's an intentional choice to just kind of show that the two characters are more alike than they at least initially want to admit, because that would make a lot of sense. I also think that the dual POV structure makes perfect sense here, because like the whole witch and witch hunter, cat and mouse dynamic is going to create a lot of tension and dramatic irony for the reader, because we'll be able to see like the hunt and the chase, how they're overlapping and how they kind of play off of each other. And I'm into that, so that feels promising. The writing so far is good. There's definitely some heavily embellished language and descriptions, but I expected that. Some of them are a little bit repetitive, especially as it pertains to both Rune and Gideon's initial thoughts and feelings about each other. Like, both of them have used the exact same descriptors to describe how they feel about the other person. We didn't get to see them interact very much. We didn't know a lot about their backstory when Rune decided, okay, I need to try and get into this guy's good graces. So there's been a lot of telling, and I wish we would have been able to see a little bit more. But I also don't expect it to be smooth sailing for them, and I know we still have a long ways to go. This is a total side note. We have a Gideon in this book, obviously, but we also have a Harrow. If you have read the Locked Tomb series, then you know that Gideon and Harrow are two of the main characters in these books. I'm not implying anything by saying that. People don't have a monopoly on names. Just thought it was interesting. Anyway, I do plan to continue on past the DNF threshold. It doesn't seem to be a standout to me so far, but it's still really early and I can totally see the potential, so fingers crossed, we'll see.